Hey! Before we start the video, I just wanted to shout out a little game called Petrified Pawns. It's not a sponsor segment, but they did give me the game for free, and as someone with influence, I did want to at least give them a small little blur in the video. It's a neat little roguelike that's not everyone's cup of tea, admittedly, but it's a good time waster. Alright, let's start the video. Chop, let's get this rolling!
Yeah. Freestyle Friday 15, it's middle school month. May, let's go. 13, living life awkward. 8th grade sucks, so we're looking for a bargain. Chilling in the parking lot like it's cool. When really with the fat kids swimming in the pool. The girls like assholes, tiny little rascals. Couldn't pull a chick even if I had a lasso. Not that I tried, it was easier to be cool. Even though our attitudes are really just see-through. All them insecurities, man, like the Pyrenees. Don't wanna see myself, cover up the mirror please. Why am I taller than all of my teachers? And why I gotta wear this grown man size t-shirt? Chilling in the bleachers, trying to skip gym class. Why I run a mile while you need slim fast? You get a hall pass, I'm the new substitute. Can't tell me nothing, so go and bug another dude. I got hair on my nuts, and I can be scary as fuck. And all I wanna do is some bad shit. Got a good family, but I'm acting like a bastard. And they tell me I'm smart, but that ain't gonna get me no bra. Yeah, so for now I'm the class clown, swallow the emotions, then pull the mask. In my middle school dance, Mr. DJ, please play your anthem, requests are granted. This man skips and the table shaky. When the beat cuts off, you piss off the ladies. The boys just laugh cause we caught a break. Now it's back to the wall to just stall and wait, hoping that a girl got the balls to say, well I do, and lucky for you, my two left feet stayed home tonight so you can take off your shoes. I'll make all of the moves, keep them little petite feet on mine, you got nothing to lose. No alcohol, quell the inhibition. We fight those with jokes about kissing. Both got braces, break the ice with them. Same orthodontist, yes he's a dickhead. Grab your girls, I'll grab my homies. Everybody's happy cause now we ain't lonely. Wasn't that hard, regard to those phonies. Still play the wall and acting so ornery. Shake them off, slip on them tiles. Who you calling loser tonight?
That's it, let me shoot your enemy.
Dancing Mike Jack MacGyver. We don't have to survive, but I got hair on my nuts, and I can be scary as fuck.
Bruh.
Nope. And they tell me I'm smart, but that ain't gonna get me no bra. Nope. Yeah, so for now I'm the class clown, swallow the emotions, then pull the mask out. Rockin' the slow jams, you grinding my oh damn. The teacher says none of that. Come on, now where's the fun in that? We rockin' to some slow jams, you grinding my oh damn. The teacher says none of that. Trying to separate us, come on, now where's the fun on that? We rockin' to some slow jams, fuck you, we rockin' like oh damn. Hell yeah, the teacher says none of that. Trying to separate us, come on, now where's the fun in that? Fuck y'all, we rockin' to some slow jams, we grinding my oh damn. The teacher says none of that. Fuck you, where is all that fun in that? I got hair on my neck, and I can be scary as fuck. Double, and all I wanna do is some bad shit. Got a good family, but I'm acting like a bastard. Right, and they tell me I'm smart, but that ain't gonna get me no bra. Yeah, so for now I'm the class clown, swallow the emotions, sing it again loud. I got hair on my neck, and I can be scary as fuck. Yeah, all I wanna do is some bad shit. Got a good family, but I'm acting like a bastard. And they tell me I'm smart, but that ain't gonna get me no bra. Nope, yeah, so for now I'm the class clown, swallow the emotions, then pull the mask out. Yeah, Freestyle Friday 15. I just rapped over Hanson.
Look, I'm gonna be real. When it comes to the games I enjoy, if it's good, I'll play it. Anyone who knows me knows I really only play good games anymore. Or at least their design is really fun. I quit the Call of Duty series because it went from one of the most fun arcade shooters to exist into a dumpster fire. Whereas nowadays, I'm still playing games like Resident Evil 4 and Sly Cooper because the design of these games are just timeless. And then you got games now like Clover Pit, Haste, Risk of Rain 2, Abiotic Factor, Celeste. These games are just timeless, they're masterpieces of our day and age. But among all of my favorites, there's been a certain series that's captured my heart. Of course, we're talking about Devil May Cry. DMC 2 and 3 were my first games ever, and my love for the series just never stopped. And obviously, a lot of other people love these games too. It didn't just become a sensation or a smash hit, it became the cornerstone of how an action game is made. Period. There's practically endless praises when it comes to 1, 3, and 5, with 2 and 4 being sort of the black sheeps. Now, where one of them is actually trash, I wanted to set my sights on a bit of a hidden gem for me. So, how is DMC4 in 2025? Better than you think. And if you somehow haven't heard of the Devil May Cry series, or just haven't played 4, here's a couple of scenes you'll ever need to see. Now, if it's not obvious you need to go and buy the game and play it right now, I don't know what to tell you. But for those who stuck around, I'd like to dedicate a small portion of your time to one of my favorite games. Look, I know this game gets dogged on a lot in the community, almost worse than 2 in some years, but I've always had a soft spot. It was the last DMC to really introduce puzzles. I really like the locations and scenery. Nero has become a more compelling character to many, so him starring in DMC4 nowadays actually feels pretty great. And something no one can really say is bad is the combat. The combat in DMC4 is quite literally unlike anything else in the series. DMC1 was just starting things out. DMC2 is apparently pretty kick-ass to the speedrun community. DMC3 is among the best, but suffers from feeling really rigid. And DMC5, I'd consider the smoothest entry. People don't really like the air camping all that much. And DMC4 is right in the middle of 3 and 5. It has inertia, a mechanic so difficult even the best combo nerds can hardly master it. It's butter smooth and has a move so good even DMC5 stole it. That's right, baby, it's the snatch. A move like this was actually pretty needed in the DMC series, and it's one of the main reasons why Nero feels so good to operate. Suddenly, moves that deal a lot of knockback just became combo tools, and snatching in the air allows you to stay safe in high pressure situations. But if there's one move so iconic, so motivational, that anyone who's played DMC4 is screaming at me for not mentioning, and that's Nero's charge shot. We have this in DMC5, but not to the same extent. To some, this is the obvious reason you even boot up DMC4. To others, they might be scratching their heads. See, for a move like this has divided the community. You have people that play shoot on the left bumper and people who play default. And as you might have guessed, one of those groups utilized the charge shot way more than the other. Now, I'm gonna be real. I played default for when did DMC3 come out? 2005. So I've been playing default controls for 20 years. Swapping my shoot button is unnegotiable. If I need to shoot for my combo, I'm pressing square. Also, I'm using PlayStation controls, fuck you. That's not just a bad habit, that's 20-year-old muscle memory. But hold on, because I'm not actually using square to hold my charge anymore. Combo nerds? I know I'm about to offend you, but to the casual crowd out there, I might actually have a solid solution for you. If you're in the same boat as me. See, ever since DMC5, I actually have been trying to use Nero's charge shot there, but I only use charge 1. It's easy to weave into combos, charge is quick, and you get 3 powered up shots with the extended hit stun. However, L1 was no longer double trigger, it was breakaway. This meant, when it was time for Nero to get his DT, they placed it on the D-pad. So I'm already used to Nero's DT being in a different spot, which means I use Steam support to put shoot on both L1 and square, and DT on select, taunt on L3. Edit. I actually put taunt on R2 now for Nero specifically. R2 is literally not an input in DMC4 Nero's toolkit, so naturally I put taunt there. Back to the video. But this means I can actually benefit from using charge shot without having to give up my old habits. And it feels great. When I said before that DMC4's Nero's charge shot is just that iconic and satisfying, I meant it. It hits like a truck, and you feel like you're the one who just launched it. And that sound effect, it gets stuck in my head with how good it sounds. Oh, and some of you might feel like having taunt on L3 is a bad thing, but it doesn't override the action you're doing. So if you're someone who accidentally clicks it during certain actions, it doesn't mess with anything. And if it does, it's jump cancelable. Oh, and Dante is Dante. Look, man, Dante is already memed on by needing a pilot's degree to even understand how to play him well. It's even more so in 4. At least in every other DMC, you can just have 2 swords, 2 guns, so pick your favorite loadout and go. But not only can you not do that in 4, but you get some of the weirdest weapons. I would say they don't really blend into each other very well, but someone would get mad at me for it. Like, look, Dante is Dante. He's really, really fun, regardless of what you give him. But all I'm saying is that he's really hard in 4, and I personally stick to just Rebellion and Coyote, unless the situation calls for me to switch. Like, we good? Must I go more in depth about Dante? Because I'll be honest, I don't really know that much about DMC4 Dante, and I've been playing this game since the PS3 release. So what are some other qualities of DMC4? Well, we're kind of going to brush off the story. Like, let's not pretend like DMC secretly has a good story in any DMC. It has a good overall plot, but DMC is an action game that loosely follows its own manga. It just needs a reason to not be slugfest 24/7 and give the player a break. Of which I should mention that the cutscenes is always a highlight. Even all these years later, DMC still has some of the most iconic cutscenes that most games can't even contend with, even today. And even though I just said we'll brush off the story, I will concede DMC4 actually has a decent one. It was supposed to be the setup for Nero taking the protagonist torch away from Dante, and honestly, I would have accepted it this way. I do think that DMC5 did Dante better, but it's actually pretty nice to see him being the uncle he needed to be. By this time, it's only meant to be speculated that Nero's Virgil's child, and it's never outright said, but like, yeah, Dante is set up to watch over him, make sure the kid actually does what he's supposed to do along with his mission, leaving off with allowing Nero to keep a very important keepsake. It does have some bumps in the road, but it's pretty solid. Now, it wouldn't be a Devil May Cry video if we didn't talk about the bosses, of which I really enjoy the bosses for DMC4. Aside from a certain gimmick fight, DMC4 actually has some of the better bosses, especially if you compare it to 3 and 5. There's a few fights in each that really just aren't good to fight. Anywhere from weird attack patterns, slow as fuck, weird as fuck. There's multiple bosses that actively ruin the experience of those titles. DMC4, for me, doesn't have that problem. Literally my favorite part of the entire game is the boss rush, for how good each one feels. And I get it, the bosses in 4 are just kind of slow, and aren't really hard until later difficulties, but at the very least, none of them feel as bad as like Glyphoth Roots in 5. The Roots are just an unnecessary stepping stone. Literally could have just been a one-off strong enemy instead of a whole ass boss fight. Anyway, the main point is that I like the bosses in 4. And also in 3, like the horse one. That one's pretty bad.